Hey guys, welcome back to Beat the Game, and today's edition of Beyond the Precon, we're talking about my Gamora. So, very lucky one. Lucky one. Alright, I'm done with that song. Alright, I'm done. Alright, let's concentrate. Alright, so guys, if you guys like these videos, please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't done so yet, and please leave some comments on this video about what do you think about Gamora, what about the suggestions I made, and also, what do you guys like about this series? If it's helpful or not, so... helps me continue to see if it's worth for me continuing. All right, that being said, Gamora is an outlaw with a 6 hand size, 10 hit points. She's got recovery of 3, which is pretty decent. She is a skilled tactician, which is awesome because then you can include up to 6 attack or thwart events, so combination of both, in aspects other than your chosen aspect. So this is very, very cool. So any attack event that you want to include, so you could be playing aggression and bring 6 thwart events, or you could bring 6 attack events from leadership, or you could bring attack events from protection and stuff like that. So that's really, really cool. Like there's a lot of cards combinations that you can do, so this is beautiful for deck building. It's very, very fun. We haven't seen that since we saw Spider-Woman, which allowed us to play with 2 aspects. So there you go. So this is very, very welcomed in this. All right, so action. She does have an action that looks at the top card of your deck, and if that card is an attack or thwart event, you can draw it once per round, which is pretty cool. So you can have a 7th card. Not bad. And when she flips, she is Gamora, the Guardian, with a 2 thwart, 2 attack, 2 defense. Man, super solid stats all across the board. Now she has 2 responses. One is finesse, which is when you play an attack event, you remove a threat from a scheme, which is not a thwart, and that is once per phase, so on the hero or villain phase. And precision response, after you play a thwart event, you get to deal a damage to an enemy once per phase. Again, you can do that in the villain and on your turn. So that is so fun because in solo play means that she can focus on aggression and still remove threat. Focus on attack cards and still remove threat, which is so good. Or focus on justice cards and still do damage. Love, love, love the efficiency and the little and how she plays out. For me, that is one of Gamora's biggest attributes for solo play. You can just kind of focus. You can focus on one thing and still do the other very efficiently, which is very, very good. You can go from threat to damage. So for me, deck building, Gamora, love it. All right, so let's take a look. She's a woman of action, obviously. So let's take a look at some of the unique cards from her kit. Now, there's 2 cards you really want to get down as soon as possible. It is her Keen Instincts, and that is generates a wild resource for an attack or thwart event. So that's super good. You want to get those down. It basically, it's resources. Man, can't go wrong. Any character that can generate resources is money. Now, this one, Gamora's Sword, is a little expensive for 3. And it says every time you play an attack event, you deal a damage. What? After you play an attack event, deal a damage to an enemy. So this is super, super solid. Now, it's 3. And if you get this early game, oh my God, it can deal sometimes like 15, 20 damage in a game. Like easy. And that's a solo play. But if you get it later in the game, like on turn 4, 5, then maybe it's not the most optimal play because then you can just focus on other stuff. But if you're playing a long game, then definitely the sword is going to give you some tremendous value. And finally, I think all the budget went into the hero card, and they forgot like, oh, we need one more card, but we have no more money. So they commissioned this card, the Conditioning Room. Oh my God. I think it's the ugliest card in all of Marvel Champions. I just can't get behind it. It's just so weird, and that's my personal opinion, but I think the card is just like gross. All right, but it does, in Alter Ego, you get to bring back the lowest card from your discard pile. So the last card in your discard pile, and then you go through those so you don't rearrange your discard pile. So whatever is at the bottom, whatever attack or event is the lowest at the bottom, you get to bring that back to your hand, and you get to heal for 1. Which is cool is if you don't get this on turn 1, Or even if you do get it on turn 1, what you can do is you pay with it for an event, and then just boom. So it's basically a free card. So that's pretty good. And then if you get her alter ego and this, then you get an extra 2 cards. So 8 cards, man, it's pretty solid. So it makes it worthwhile to go down to alter ego. All right. Then she has some really, really cool effect cards. So she's got 2 cards that remove a threat for 0, set the pace, and then she's got 2 cards that deal 2 damage for 0, which is amazing. So for 0, you do 2 damage and remove a threat, or for 0, you remove a threat and deal the damage. Man, these cards are money, but these cards are like triggers to increase some of her other cards, like Forward Momentum, which is remove 3 threat, but if you played an attack event, boom, now you remove 5 threat. So very, very cool, very combo-y. And then you have the attack version of that card, which is the decisive blow. And if you played a thwart event, and then you get to deal 7 damage to an enemy. So that is so good. So again, you really want to balance out how many threat removal cards and how many attack cards you want to play, so you can really combo off and get some really cool combos within your own cards, which is great. And then she has this really awesome defense card, which is called the Cross Counter. Now this one you got to be careful because it is an attack, defense, and thwart event. If you are stunned or confused, this card will be canceled. So, and you won't get any of the effects. The only effect you will get if you are stunned or confused is the finesse and precision triggers, because then you still played a card. All right, and then finally there's her signature ally, which is Nebula, which is a super solid ally for 2, a 2 attack, 2 thwart for 2, with 2 health. It's amazing, and it says, after Nebula enters play, you search your deck for an attack or thwart event and add it to your hand. So this allows you to actually get some of your combo pieces that you need when you need it. So very, very cool. And then she's a perfect blocker. Bam, boof, done. And then just you can keep recurring her. All right, so now those are her signature cards. Now let's go look at her pre-con and how we can make it better. All right, so here is her pre-constructed deck. So we got a lot of reprints again. So we got 8 reprints this time. We got double uppercuts that we saw in the core box, 2 combat trainings. Actually, Angela's technically not a reprint, because if you've never bought anything else, Angela is actually a good card. So there's 7 reprints and the 3 double resources. All right, as for aggression, because she actually comes in aggression, believe it or not, with all the colors you see on the table. So we get Plan of Attack, which allows you to look for attack events, which is cool. Clobber, a card that kind of has the same effect as the Ms. Marvel ability on an aggression card. So you get to, and if it's the first card you play this turn, it comes right back to your hand. So that's really cool. We got the Godslayer, which is a restricted item that gives a +2 bonus when you attack a unique enemy. We got some cool Justice cards, which is Impede, which removes 3 threat from the main and comes back to you if it is the first card played. So it costs 2 to play, but it comes back. So it's a true cost of 2, which is pretty good. And then as we got an attack event in Protection, which is First Hit, which is pretty fun, and it deals 2 damage to the villain, or when a minion initiates an attack, deal 2 damage to that minion. So that's pretty interesting. And there's some pretty cool characters that can have some fun with those hero interrupt cards. All right, after that, we got Hit and Run, which is one of my favorite cards with Gamora. And actually, I actually like it with a lot of heroes that can generate a lot of resources. Hit and Run is a attack thwart event. So it triggers both of her abilities, finesse and precision, when she uses it, and it deals 2 damage to an enemy and remove 2 threat from a scheme. So there you go. It's very versatile. And then we got Drax the Ally, who can only attack the minion, the villain. He doesn't attack minions. He just goes straight to face for the boss. So there you go. So that's her pre-constructed deck. Now, what are the cards that I would remove to make this deck just a teeny weeny better? All right, so what would I remove? So the first cards I would remove are these Plans of Attack. Now, as much as an interesting card this is, my big problem with Plan of Attack is I'd rather have an attack card in my hand than a card to go look for a card. So this is my reasoning why plan of attacks. This is really, really good if you have a combo deck that you are trying to do something with. So if you're trying to build with, like, say, Star-Lord's dive bomb that we saw, then yes, look, I want to find my dive bombs. I'm going to add these cards to help me find my crucial pieces. Now, I know that is the intent, but there is nothing super special here in her kit that warrants a plan of attack. All right, second cards I would remove. Obviously, 1 combat training. So that's 4 cards already that we have decided. All right, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. The next card I would remove is Impede. Now, Impede, the reason why I would remove it, because it only removes threat from the main scheme. So if there's side scheme, this card is not so good. All right. So now we already removed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ouch, that's a lot of cards. The next cards I would remove are the first hits. Now, the reason why is this is 1 to do 2 damage. So that means it costs you 2 cards to do 2 damage. She already has 2 cards that cost 0. I don't think this is very necessary. It's a cool card for protection, yes. For ways to control minions and stuff like that. But for me, it's Nova's ability. I'd rather just add the Nova ally and just spend the lightning to do 2 damage instead of having it as an event. But again, that's just me. So I'm already at 10 cards removed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to remove 1 more. I'm going to remove 1 Clobber. Just because Clobber's fine. It comes back. You have to play it as first. All right, so that's a lot of cards. Steve, you removed 11 cards. Now, what are you going to replace it with? Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 Relentless Assaults. I just think being able to do some overkill damage is just amazing. Then I'm going to add 2 Chase Them Downs. Again, 0 cost events are what she loves. Because 0 cost cards, they're easy to play. Then I would add a Hulk in Aggression. She only has a couple of allies, so this would round it up to 4 allies. 1 that gets a minion, again, combos with this, awesome. Hulk is just a blocker. Depending if you look at the deck, there's a couple of physicals, there's a lot of lightning, there's a few mentals, so you got to be careful. All right, then to add, I would add a couple of Justice cards. I would add 4 Justice instead of the other one. The reason why is just it removes threat from anything, and it can be up to 4. Because of her keen instincts, it's pretty much always guaranteed to be 4 removal. Then I would remove I would add an interrogation room. Why? Just because she's going to be killing minions, and it's just going to be easy with her little ping damage. She can just kill a minion for easy. And then the final one is a bonus card that's included in her kit, which is Pivotal Moment. And I love this card, especially in solo. I wouldn't play this if I'm playing more than two players, just because it's going to be so hard to trigger. But Pivotal Moment is a bonus card. It's 2 damage to the villain, but 5 damage if you're doing your justice job and leaving no threat on the main scheme. So this is very, very fun with her because it's an easy 5 damage. So 2 for 5 damage. Obviously, she has her cards in her kit that deal more damage. 2 for 7 if you play the thwart event. But again, I think these are fine if you're just playing with the Gamora hero pack and nothing else. All right, so now let's take a look at some of the hero packs that I would add to make her deck even better. Just how to give her better events, and that's basically what we're going to be looking for. How to make Gamora even better. All right, guys. So depending on how you want to build Gamora, there's going to be a couple of packs that I'm going to suggest. So you can either try to deck thin with really low cost upgrades and supports, or you can try to add cram full of events in her deck and just play tons of events. So I'm going to propose some hero packs that kind of do a little bit of both. The first one, I think the best hero pack for Gamora is no less than Ms. Marvel. And the reason why is because she has 3 attack cards that can just be played, and every time you play Gamora, you can add these 9 cards. So you can add the 3 melees if you're playing aggression, or if you're playing protection, or if you're playing justice. You can add the 3 tackles, which gives her now an option to stun the villains, which is huge because she has low hit points. So that's really good. She has the concussive blow, which confuses, which allows you to go to alter ego, and then you get to cycle some of those cards, heal up, and then look for more cards. So that I think that is a perfect combination. And not only that, it also gives you 2 really awesome build cards in downtime and endurance. So Ms. Marvel, my top recommendation for the Gamora pack. All right, second recommendation would be the Hulk. Actually, nah. It won't be. Hulk's going to come, but it's going to be on third spot. The more I think about it, even though there's only 2 really, really good cards in her kit, this is the second pack that I would recommend, Scarlet Witch. And only because of cards like multitasking with her keen instincts, guaranteed to remove 4 threat and deal the damage for 1 cost. And then you get the Turn the Tide, again, which is a 3 damage, so 3 damage and 1 threat removal for 0. Super, super efficient cards from the Scarlet Witch pack. So definitely my second choice for this. I was thinking of a Hulk because, all right, so my third choice is going to be Hulk. The reason why, it's just because there was just more cards in the Hulk pack. But the great cards about in the Hulk pack, again, the drop kick, because of the 2 keen instincts, the probabilities that you can do the triple physical, the stun and draw card are very, very high. Add to that you can have the martial prowess that now gives you 3 physical resources, or 2 wilds and a physical, guarantees that your drop kicks are always going to be free and get to stun and draw a card, which is great. And then you have some great cards, like you can combo the stun with the toe-to-toe and then deal another 5 damage. So I love that combination of drop kick, toe-to-toe, especially if you have everything in place and you can pay them for free. Awesome. And then if you don't have the toe-to-toe, and then you'll pay for that. So you deal the damage, you remove threat, and then you remove threat and deal damage. And these is all for cost of 1. So that's why I really, really, really like the Hulk pack to help Gamora. And then the honorable mention, and the reason why it's an honorable mention, it's the Nebula pack. Because it has no attack or thwart events that are decent for Gamora. But it does have the Daughters of Thanos, which allows you to draw 3 cards if Nebula is in play. It has the Honorary Guardian, which increases her health, which is deck thinning, which is great. It has the One Way or Another, which allows you to go get a side scheme that gives you stuff to do to remove threat and draws you more cards. It's got the Justice Served that allows you to ready, which is super fun. And then finally, it gives you the Energy Spear and Aggression, which is one of the best aggression attachments in the game. It's just +2 in piercing. It's just so good. So those are my recommendations for the Gamora experience. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys use these little strategies. Maybe, did I forget some cards? Maybe I forgot a couple of cards. I could always talk about Nova and No Quarter. I could talk about Venom with the side holster that can add a couple of extra restricted weapons. But I really wanted to stay on theme with Gamora with a lot of attack and thwart events. So those are what my recommendation for. Obviously, the more cards you can thin out of her deck fast, the better she becomes, obviously, because then you're just cycling her events more and more. But again, before that happens, it does take a little time. So that is why I made those suggestions. So guys, please tell me what you think in the comments. And remember that you can always have fun and play the game with Gamora and maybe use these strategies to beat the game. Ciao, ciao, guys.